Hey, Roger Martin here, everybody. Just want to have a good day. This is Fox News, and as Michael Flynn's lawyer reacts to outside prosecutor reviewing case, but much more. And this is on Sean Hannity.
This is a Fox News alert. Today we learn the Attorney General Bill Barr has now appointed an outside prosecutor to review Michael Flynn's case. Here now to react exclusively is General Flynn's attorney, Sidney Powell. There has been a travesty of justice here.
Huge.
You know, what Comey admitted to, I'd never do this in the Bush or try and get away with it in the Bush or Obama years, and then McCabe saying, "Oh, you don't need a lawyer," and then he did need a lawyer. They denied him his constitutional rights. Then, irony of all ironies, they didn't think he lied, but they said, "We want you to lie and say you lied." They're telling him to lie, so we won't go after your son after you've had to sell your house and everything in between that happened.
It's even worse than that, Sean. The small group at the FBI, including McCabe and Peter Strzok, the agent.
Now, she says small group at the FBI, and it's even worse than that. And she can't mention a name, which is interesting.
I can't name, and Trish Anderson and James Baker and others literally worked together to figure out how and when to interview him to keep him from knowing he was even the subject of the interview. So not only was he not warned of his rights, he didn't even know that he was being investigated. In fact, he was led to believe that he wasn't being investigated. I don't even know of a false statement prosecution ever in the history of our country where somebody wasn't either warned of their rights or told they were being investigated.
Which really sounds like a setup job and a political bias job in and of itself. And he's had to change lawyers. Remember, he had to sell his house, he had to go in deep debt, they had to raise money, and they tried to go after his son. So there were literally many other things going on here.
And then, of course, we have the missing 302. The original 302, they say they can't find. Mr. Van Grack can't produce it. He's got conflicts of interest out the wazoo himself because he'd be
Conflicts of interest and can't find the 302. And it's a mess. It just sounds like it's a partial mess. And the powers that be ordered them to go after Flynn, and they ordered them to go after Trump.
be witness number one if we have to have a hearing in front of Judge Emmett Sullivan for his side deal with Covington that wasn't disclosed. I mean, there's just one atrocity after the other in this case.
Let me look big picture. When I was asking Trey Gowdy earlier, let's look at the declination statement as it relates to McCabe and the 4 times he's been identified as lying. I'm looking at other things. The Attorney General stepping in on the Roger Stone case in a major way because it was such an overreach and overzealous and outrageous attempt at, a process crime, 9 years. The average rapist gets 4.2 years in prison.
Again, Stone, these elite groups, these Dems, these other groups that are through the Obama or other groups are trying to keep Trump from doing what he needs to do. And make no mistake, this is an all-out war with the key people around Trump. And it has been before he got elected, and especially the 3 years after he was elected. Make no mistake, this is a war, a political power hold and war.
Then I'm looking at what happened now that the Attorney General installed this prosecutor to review General Flynn's case. Then I see the investigations that have gone on in Great Britain and Italy and with Australia.
Now we need to know that this is a worldwide revolution. People want their freedoms back, they want their government back, they want their rights restored, and they want these elite people out of their government and their lives. And this is in many countries, more than what he's mentioned. Look at Iran and what's going on there. You look at what's going on in South America. You look at what's going on in Africa, as well as China and Hong Kong. In Taiwan, a lot going on. Besides UK, Germany, France, Italy, Sweden, and other countries, Germany. This is worldwide, make no mistake about it.
Here, the Attorney General has said, yeah, they spied on a presidential candidate, transition team, and a president. And I'm putting it all together. And what I see coming is I see that the Attorney General, and I hope I'm right, you tell me if you agree with me, is clearing the decks now because something huge is going to happen. And everything.
Quote unquote, he's clearing the decks because something huge is going to happen. So it's either going to happen for the 31st of March, or when he has to answer questions, or before and after he answers questions. But March is going to be a big month. And I believe so is April and following months up to the election. But this spring, they're going to get a real knockout punch by Barr and Durham.
Everything that we now have been vindicated on, and that being premeditated fraud, FISA court, to spy on a presidential campaign, transition deep into a presidency, it's all about to come crashing down on their heads. It's not only my hope, I think it has to happen.
Well, there is an immediate and urgent need to restore the application of the rule of law, which means it has to be applied equally regardless of political party. I think that is what Attorney
Now that is paramount. It has to be applied equally regardless of religious or political party. The rule of law, quote unquote, has to be applied equally. It can't be said any better than that.
General Barr realizes has to be done for the public to have any trust in the FBI or the Department of Justice ever again.
All right.
So any trust in the FBI or the Department of Justice. So this battle has been going on for decades. It began during Clinton's era, Bush's it continued during and accelerated during the Obama years, and now it has hit a pinnacle during the Trump years. Very interesting, to say the least. This is Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Stay tuned for some major news to come out either by the end of this month or somewhere in March. Good day.